The story of Little Red Riding Hood. Once upon a time, in a village near a dense forest, there lived a little girl whom everyone called Little Red Riding Hood, because she always wore a red hood that her grandmother had sewn for her. One day, her mother gave her a basket full of cakes and told her to take them to her sick grandmother, who lived deep in the forest. Before she left, her mother warned her, "Go straight along the path and do not stray. There is danger lurking in the forest." Little Red Riding Hood nodded obediently and set off through the woods, but soon she met a cunning wolf. The wolf was hungry and quickly came up with a plan. He kindly asked Little Red Riding Hood where she was going, and she, unaware of the danger, answered honestly, "I'm going to my grandmother's house to bring her some cakes. She lives in that little house at the end of the forest." The wolf smiled and suggested she pick some flowers for her grandmother. Little Red Riding Hood loved the idea and wandered off the path, forgetting her mother's warning. Meanwhile, the wolf ran straight to the grandmother's house, knocked on the door, and in a disguised voice said, "Grandmother, it's me, Little Red Riding Hood." The grandmother opened the door, and the wolf quickly swallowed her. Then he put on her nightgown, put on her glasses, and got into bed to wait for Little Red Riding Hood. When Little Red Riding Hood arrived, she felt that something was strange. "Grandmother, why do you have such big eyes?" "To see you better, my dear," the wolf replied. "Grandmother, why do you have such big ears?" "To hear you better, my dear." "And why do you have such a big mouth?" "To eat you better." At that moment, the wolf jumped out of bed and tried to swallow her. Luckily, a hunter passing by heard the noise, rushed inside, and saved Little Red Riding Hood and her grandmother. He cut open the wolf's belly, and out jumped the grandmother and Little Red Riding Hood, alive and well. Moral of the story: Little Red Riding Hood learned an important lesson. Always listen to the advice of elders and never talk to strangers. And so, the story of Little Red Riding Hood ended happily, and the wolf never tricked anyone again.